Hi, I'm Gaby.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Chaliece, and you're listening to Music Makes Me Lose Control.
Hello, and welcome to another special bonus episode of Music Makes Me Lose Control, a pod where we discuss insight into the music industry, debunk pop myths, and dive deep into happening music and artists. Women in the music industry are lacking. Before we get into it, let me just say a couple stats to really give an idea of women in the music industry. Men release more songs than women, are signed to record labels more frequently, and are aligned with more collaborators to produce music, according to a Northeastern study. Women make up 21.7% of artists, 12.3% of songwriters, and 2.1% of producers. Women executives get paid 30% less than men, and only 15% of women in the music business actually run labels. So I came up with this episode idea because I feel as though women need to support women more. We're already lacking in numbers, and the last thing we need is to be pitted against each other. Whether we are talking about artists, producers, or women in leadership positions, I specifically wanted to talk about girl groups. Why aren't there more? Why does it seem impossible for women to work together and actually get along? We need more girl groups so that young women can see other women working together, getting along, and succeeding together. So with that being said, let's talk about some of our favorite girl groups in the music industry that we admire. I will personally go first, since this is something I'm very passionate about. So we're going to talk about my favorite girl group, Little Mix. Little Mix, a group formed on X Factor, a One Direction situation, but with women. But what happened? No success in America. Why? I don't know. Ask the men running the label. Ask the men, because I don't know. Anyways, so Little Mix, love them for many reasons. They range, they're successful, they're beautiful. They talk about, what they're going through, and, production's there, vocals are there, dance moves kind of there, depends which member you're looking at, kind of there. And it's just a beautiful thing to look at because you see like their interviews and it genuinely looks like they get along. And I feel like we don't see a lot of that anymore. And it's just nice to see women supporting women because, we just don't see it. We don't see it enough. And it really irritates me because, like, why? Like, why does it seem so hard for us to work together when, like, that's not just, it shouldn't be like that. It just shouldn't be like that. Like, here we are, 3 women working together, and we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know where I'm at with, like, there aren't many girl groups because women can't work together. I feel like if there is a problem with, like, women working together, it's internalized misogyny, where society has taught you that women suck. Women shouldn't be, like, out there and speak their mind. They should be quiet or whatever. They should be smiling. And, like, I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons that, like, women get in their own way. But, like, when I feel like I'm, like, open to hearing other people's experiences, women or men, like, we all get along. I have the most fun when I'm, like, working with or talking with women. And that's the only reason why I'm on this podcast. Because it's like, I don't get along with that many groups like this in school, no. But, like, I love collaborating with, like, friends and women who don't let misogyny get in their own way.
Jumping off of that, I think it probably attaches to like the way we see the old school high school movies where there's always like mean girls, or like if it's an all girl like school, it's always known that, oh, there's probably so many fights and gossiping and they're probably so catty. So I think like you were saying, like women might get into their own heads about it and maybe think, oh, like this might not work out, or I have to be better, or something like that. But I think that there should be more girl groups that are good at working together. And obviously, when it comes to artists that are good vocally and like musically together. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also feel as though there should just be like more collaboration like within women in the industry. I feel like we don't see that too much. And like if we do, it's like a big thing being like, "Oh, this is like a female only like created album." And it's like, "Wow, this is like a big deal." And it's like, "Why should that be a big deal?" Just a little irritating.
I think it's so true and just crazy. Like the stats you read at the top, like we've learned about it in class, but like when I think about some guy's song like that they wrote being like valued over a woman's when it's not maybe like as good as a woman's, it like pisses me off because like I know so many women who are like really creative and are great writers, and I feel like is it just that they're not being valued, not being taken seriously in the room, or are they just not even being let at the table to begin with? It irks me because I just know that there's so many women out there clawing at the chance to like work for or like work with bigger artists or even work with a bunch of artists to begin with. So I just think that's like very interesting. The whole songwriter thing drives me nuts. And the producers, like, ooh, like in the artist documentary episode, like in every single one of these like pop giants' studios, it's like all men. It's all men, except for maybe the artist. And that shit drives me wild. But I'll hold my tongue for this episode.
To jump off of that, you made me think of how sometimes women will write their songs about relationships that they've been in. And there are people that'll have comments like, oh, you have to write about this guy and blah, 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 blah. But then you have men, and for some reason, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of The Weeknd right away, that can write about like previous relationships, and it's he's deep and this is meaningful, but it's not the same if a woman were to do it. It's like, oh, she has to write about this man when it's quite literally the same difference.
Can you be less specific? It's like, let me write my truth, okay? Like, I'm not a songwriter, but like, I just can like feel it. Like, I feel like I'm not hearing women's stories as much in music, and it pisses me off. Like, I don't need a man. Like, why do we need a man to write every single hit? Sometimes I see, like, yeah, there are some talented men songwriters out there, but I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense that it's not like an equal share of the pie.
Yeah, I think a lot of times just women are being taken seriously, especially in the music industry. So it's like if they have like any thought or opinion, it's like whatever, like move on, like on to the next topic. And so especially like with women artists and girl groups, it's like you're a child, like you don't know what you're talking about. Like we the men will decide for you. And so I think that's why a lot of girl groups especially like die out so young because they're just being told what to do all the time because usually they're young girls in a situation where they don't have any power, they feel as though they don't have any power over what they're doing and like their artist work, so it just ends up being like f you to like the label and f you to my bandmates because you didn't help us and like we suck and now we don't like what we're doing, and so end of group, you know, like I feel like that's just kind of how it works. It ties into like men telling them what to do. So
Yeah. And you know what sucks the most about like all of this? It's like we're talking about this still in like 2021 for every single woman who like listens to this podcast or hears the horror stories of what it is to be a woman in the music industry. It's like how would that be encouraging to anybody who maybe isn't very confident or doesn't feel like they already don't have the power to begin with to like break those barriers down. Like it must be so discouraging, and I think that's just like another factor to why women aren't let in the room and they're not taken seriously. It just sounds like an uphill battle. It sounds terrible. If like I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like a woman songwriter trying to like pitch my songs, and it just it sounds like it would be hell. Like just even trying to get my foot in the door or work with the people that I even want to work with.
So for me, I think growing up, my mom would play a lot of like R&B girl groups like SWV and Escape. And then I would get into like Destiny's Child or like TLC. And those were like the girl groups that I always knew. And just because it's R&B and that's what really like I grew up on that, I listen to that still today. And I personally love all of them, their voices, the way they fit together. And still now, when they get together, like I know Destiny's Child has gotten together for a little bit and performed on stage. It's so amazing to see. And I'm pretty sure Escape got together and they sang for, I think it was an award show or something like that, which was just as amazing. And it's good to see, even if they're like not together, like doing their music now, no matter what girl group it is, it's good to see them get back together and be able to sing and relive those moments that their fans have known them for, and to sing those songs that they basically had their fame off of.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. I remember I watched the performance of Beyonce doing Single Ladies at like a performance award. It was a super cool performance. I love watching that performance. After this performance, you see like Kelly Rowland in the audience and she's like standing up and she's like cheering her girl on. And then you see that, but then you see like Fifth Harmony, and then like one of them's doing like a solo performance on stage, and you see the rest of them in the audience being like, ugh. And it's like, well, that's awkward. You know, it's just kind of dramatic and it's just petty. And I don't know. I don't like that. Like, just be supportive. Like, get over it. Get over yourself. If you can't make the group work without this one member, then like, yikes. You know? Speaking of Fifth Harmony, like I would see like interviews of them and it was so catty.
Really?
Like, yes. I was always like, oh my God, like, do you guys even like each other?
Mm-hmm.
So I would watch it because it was always fun, and like they'd always try to like out sing each other instead of like compliment each other's voices, and so it was kind of just like entertaining for me to watch.
I think the little one always tried to out sing.
But Little Mix, on the other hand, perfect harmony until Jessie left. But that was for mental health issues, not for disliking people.
So they're done, right?
No, not yet. They still have the tour. They're not canceling it. So just the three of them are going to go on tour. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they do like one more album and then call it quits. Kind of like One Direction.
Gaby, and you've never seen them? I think you have to go.
I saw them open for Demi Lovato.
No, this is dire.
I saw
like you actually have to go to a show.
No, I know. Trust me. I know.
Book that flight to Europe, bro.
I literally think about it a lot. I'm like, I can't believe I'm never gonna go to one of their concerts. And like, I spent like 10 years of my life like dedicating everything to them. Like,
no, because you are, Gaby. You're going to the next tour.
I saw them open for Demi Lovato, and then I went to like one of their meet and greets in like 2013, and they had like a little set.
Did you meet them?
You met them?
I met them twice.
Oh my God. Why have I not seen pictures? Gaby
because
doesn't
I look
share her meet
so
stories.
Ugly. I went to the meet and greet in 2013. It was in this mall, and I like had to wait in this long line, and I was like super anxious, and I made like a little like book for them, and I was so excited. I get to the front, and I had to have like someone older than 18 with me, so my oldest sister came with me at the time, not my mom, because my mom was like, I'm not gonna go to that. So my oldest sister came with me. It was my two sisters and then one of my good friends at the time. So we waited in line, we were there, and then we get to the front, and like I was just like starstruck. I can't even explain my like feelings. And so then I like gave my book to Leigh-Anne, and I was like, hi, like I made this for you. And so then she was like, oh, like, thank you, whatever. And so then I went down the line, and they like signed like my little booklet for DNA. And then Perry said I looked super cute, and so I was like, ah! And then I got out of the line, and so then like I left, and then I started sobbing because I was so emotional. And there's like a picture of me holding like my little booklet, like crying.
It's so cute.
And then I went to go meet them, and they signed my salute booklet. I still have them, don't worry. So yeah, that was me meeting Little Mix. Wearing this headband thing that I thought looked super cute at the time because Perry would wear them. So I was like, I need it. So my mom let me buy it, and so I was wearing it. And just looking back on it, it was the wrong decision.
That's okay. You guys connected.
You guys can't laugh. So yeah, that's the picture of me meeting Little Mix for the first time.
My gosh.
I was super emotional.
You're so cute. I love it.
Look the cutest. Thank you. I'll have this picture forever.
No, it's okay.
To be honest, girl groups weren't a part of my life very much, and it makes me really sad. Like, I didn't have many girl groups growing up that I listened to. Like, I think I listened to Destiny's Child every now and then. I think, honestly, my first introduction to, like, women in a group was, like, the Chicks, formerly known as Dixie Chicks, but they have changed their name. But when they sang their cover of Landslide, it was good, you know? And then I heard it on Glee too, and it was 3 women. It was Gwyneth Paltrow, Nye Riviera, and then Heather Morris. And again, they sounded so good on that song. I'm like, this is just amazing. And I think like so many times on Glee, there were like girls that would pair up too, which was always great. I think I just feel like I lost out on that as a child, and I never got into Fifth Harmony. I like wasn't really into them. But Little Mix, I was like, oh, they have some good songs. Like Get Weird is my vibe. Yeah, I feel like I could go and dance that song like all night, but they would never play that at a club today, which is so sad. I think Gaby should host like a Little Mix night somewhere, and I'll book a flight.
A Little Mix mixer.
Genius. I love that. I love that.
But I always saw them and was like, oh, like they're really put together, and they sounded really good together. And I wish that there were more groups like them, but there just aren't. I think the next closest thing that I've found recently is Haim, but again, I'm a recent fan of them. Yeah, like they're just not a part of my life, and it's so sad. And I wish that there were more girl groups around, like while I was growing up, for sure. Because I feel like when I watch videos of Little Mix, I'm like, I love this, you know? Like I don't even have to like the song. I just kind of like the harmonies, and it's like just so fun to listen to girls sing together. It's a different feeling than listening to men sing together, you know? And I honestly just think it sounds better. I'm gonna be for real. Like Barbershop Quartet, that's also some good harmonies for like men, you know?
But that's completely different.
That's a big generalization.
No, you're right. I feel like harmonies with like women, it's like great, but I see your Barbershop Quartet.
Like
I see the reference. It is a vibe. I agree.
Remember, guys, I was one of the 4 barbers in Music Man. So like we weren't as good. Again, I think it was all women too. We were all in the Barbershop Quartet in that play. I have a theory why women groups haven't made it in the US as much. And it was brought to my attention by my brother, and then later on TikTok, again, it was reiterated, okay? So my brother was like, I'm gonna have a month where I listen to only women artists. And I was like, wait, like you don't just like go back and forth? And that like confused me. And he was like, well, I only listen to rock, and then there aren't that many like women in rock and all that. But I was like, but still, like you don't like listen to some of them. I was like, yeah, I listen to some of them. But anyways, then I saw something on TikTok, and they were like, I'm not gonna date a man if they don't listen to women, because it's like they just have like a problem with it. And I feel like I have a problem with that too, because it's like I'm listening to the man's story all the time in music, and like I can kind of get down with it. But then, and I listen to the women's too, you know? So why can't a man do the same thing? It confused me, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, why can't you listen to women music? And I think maybe a reason why, like, Little Mix didn't make it into the US is because maybe men aren't gonna listen to Little Mix. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think men would. I mean, I know, like, when I'm, like, hanging out with friends, sometimes I'll put on, like, Sweet Melody, like from like their newest album, and like people will be like, oh, I like this isn't half bad, but it's not too common. I don't know, you brought up a good point. I'm like thinking about it now.
I know, it shook me to my
too.
core. I was
I'm
like,
thinking
it's
about this.
weird.
Do men not listen to women
I'm
every
gonna
day?
ask Brandon if he listens to any women artists.
Some
I'm
relationships
so
are about to
shook-
be rocked.
No, not mine. Nick's an R&B guy. He listens to everything. He's a music guy. But like when I'm thinking about it, like I'm thinking of like maybe like his brothers and stuff. I know they don't listen to women. Like
that's gross.
And then I'm thinking of like just like other men, the music that they talk about. And then I started thinking about myself, like, do I listen to women? And I do. That's all I listen to, really. I'm like, wait, yeah. So then I'm like, men really don't listen to women? I just, vocally, I can't understand that because there are some like men who have magnificent voices. But women, man, the range that women have, like, come on, you don't listen to women and you have a favorite singer who's a guy? I can't even, I don't even understand that. I'm so glad you brought that up, Jenna.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
Now it's making me think about it. I don't even think I'd want friends that, you know, like identify as men and stuff and don't listen to women artists, like female artists.
It's like,
what?
if you can't
about to break off
appreciate
so
it,
many relationships.
like
Me too.
like I tried to think of why, right? I'm not a man. I don't know. I listen to men too, you know, like One Direction. I with Tyler. I could name a bunch of straight men that I have listened to over the years. But I'm like, is it just because you maybe can't identify with like what they're singing about? But like, I don't know. Like, it just, is it
That makes
because
me so mad,
it
though,
worries you that people will perceive your taste as like too feminine? Like, is this like male fragility, or is it something else that I'm like not being able to put my finger on?
I feel like men, like when we listen, say for example, like I'll listen to Shawn Mendes because we were talking about him earlier, and his songs are about like love and about like maybe drugs or whatever it's about, whatever. It doesn't feel as though it's directed to just guys because he's a guy, and it doesn't feel as if it's directed as to only girls because he knows a large group of his fans are girls. But maybe in a guy's mentality, it's like, oh, if most of the fan if most of the fans are women, then the music must be directed towards women. Therefore, I can't identify with that song because it wasn't meant for me. Maybe. I feel like that could be a way of thinking, which is kind of up, but
Yeah, this is such a weird conversation. It's the thought of like humans that identify as male not listening to female artists ever. It boggles my head because I don't even understand how you can go through your life, and even if you listen to so much music and a female artist doesn't hit in there anywhere, you're only listening to one perspective of music then. And like, how you don't listen to music if you are a male. If we're putting this in, if you are a male and you identify as a male, actually any human, if you listen to music and you say that you are an avid music listener and you only listen to one gender, whether that be any of them, all of them, if you only listen to one, you're not a music listener. You don't love music. You can't, because there's no way that as a music lover, as you say, you can only listen to one gender. Like, there's so much that goes into that. Like, oh my God, that's nuts to even think about. Jenna!
yeah.
That was just good!
One thing I want to say is that I feel like if a guy ever does want to listen to a female artist, that female artist has to be quote unquote hot. Like, don't even try to bring up a female artist that isn't, Vogue material, because if not bi,
that's
like they don't care.
Such
and like
facts.
That's disgusting.
Literally
gross.
In high school, like the first instance I think I can remember of a man bringing up an artist was Camila Cabello. and which is just bringing us back around, you know.
Full
This is
circle.
crazy, full circle. And I was thinking about this earlier, but I was like, I don't need to bring him up, but now it's kind of relevant. And he mentioned like her voice makes her like so hot or whatever, but she's already attractive and like teeny and whatever, like basically conventional like hotness. I was like, so literally it's all tied to if you find them attractive, if you will listen to somebody. And that's all you could say is like, oh, her voice is amazing.
I think it's weird because the first thing I thought of was I've heard men talk about Lizzo's music, and it's actually good, or it's actually pretty good. And that actually right there means so much, because is it just because she's not the stereotypical like little figure like woman, and because she is like the size that she is, that makes her music actually good? Or because she doesn't look like the stereotypical view of beauty or whatever you'd like to say? Like, it's weird. It's very weird, because looks have nothing to do with the talent. And also looks is opinion based, you know, like, and I guess talent technically is too, but to a certain degree. Oh my god, this conversation really just got me all struck
Yeah,
up.
you got me.
Men that don't listen to women? Why?
You suck.
How can you do that? How? Like, how can you go, like, maybe one day you happen to not listen to a female artist, fine. But if you spend a week and no female artist hits your playlist or hits, like, your shuffle, how is that possible?
No, I've been there too. It's like sometimes I'm listening to a guy because they would just put on new music and I'm listening to the album on repeat, but it's not like I don't listen to women ever or anything like that, but I guess I am a woman. But I think just even thinking about it, it would bother me if I gave a guy an aux cord and he didn't play one woman or he couldn't belt out like one song sang by a woman. Like, it would just bother me that you can't even, like, I don't know, find something in yourself that identifies with her singing this song or them singing this song.
Yeah.
It's just like, something's not right.
Or like, it's a song that, it has to be a song that's not just like this pop song that's the most popular song at the moment, or like one of the songs from like childhood type of thing. I don't know why I'm thinking of Natasha Bedingfield for some reason, but like, you get what I mean? Like, yes, you know, you're growing up in that music, like guys, at least like the men that I know, they'll all know that. And it's because like we kind of grew up with that being like popular at the time. If you only know that and like some of the most recent like popular songs, come on, you got to know something that is in between an album, like in the middle, or, you know, like.
Some men are so fragile.
Well, that was an enlightening conversation on how men are like kind of whack. Like, we gotta change this, you know? Like, for any guy that's listening, please help your music library and just add a few women. Like, come on, go get into it.
Maybe we should make an all-females playlist so that people can try to see if they like something and add it to their own playlists. I feel like that could be fun. Thanks for hearing us speak about women in the music industry and the lack of women. I hope to see some more successful girl groups in the future, and I hope to see more women supporting women because we are amazing and we deserve it. Join us next week where we will be talking about artists that we think shouldn't make music and just really shouldn't be famous. As always, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at MMMLC Podcast for sneak peeks and updates on our upcoming episodes. And if you'd like to watch our podcast, you can find us on YouTube for Music Makes Me Lose Control podcast. Missy Elliott, call us. We want the mechanical license. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.